Reagan, Reg is up there. We never saw Reagan after that. Apparently Reg is... he's decided to live up there in New Guinea. He's got a grass skirt on, a couple of beers, and he's pretty happy about it, surrounded by women.
I haven't seen him for a while.
That was the last we saw Reg.
Yeah, never saw him again.
Hopefully he's in one piece.
Sterlo.
Fatso.
Sterlo. Chiefo.
Nice auto.
Big Doe.
Free Rego.
Hello.
Been down the bowler.
On the Uzo.
You think you need an email?
Let's go.
Okay, Sterlo. Hey, Chiefo. How you going up? No Rego, hey? How about no nutso? Hey, Fatso. No homo. Let's get something straight, people. Free Rego. Get stuffed up.
Very good. Very good. Now, you might have noticed during that ad, just a bit of footage of the Chief. It's almost like he was maybe expecting something from Reg. Just watch him covering up just a little bit early. Now, we'll be able to show you why he was doing that, because just before that, this had happened.
I like the way Reg was...
I'm glad you're happy.
I like it the way he was carrying on as that was accidental. Oh, sorry, Chief, sorry.
Straight in the beanbag.
It's more than a kneeful, I'll give you the drum.
You got a bruised knee out of that.
The Warriors selected the most fearsome of us four for a special induction.
5 minutes.
See you, John. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
We're actually happy if you keep him. We'll leave him here. He's all yours. Well done, Matty. Well done, Matty.
2-on-1, mate. You don't see this every day. You've got the young Hoolie Warriors going to play touch football against each other, against these majestic mountains with a thunderstorm coming over. You can hear it cracking. The field is fantastic. It's as muddy as you want. We've got Sterlo on one team. We've got Fatty on the other, and we're dead set got thousands of the villagers around. This is a day you don't get all the time. This is gold. Check this out.
Saturday morning and it's time to go. One day this gonna be the days, but who couldn't know? Loaded in the back of a pickup truck, riding with the boys and pushing the luck, singing songs like
Tackle one, come back with me. Come back with me.
wishing all the things could still be the same. China someone's over the backstop.
Play on!
But only because we thought that everything good always would remain. Nothing wanna change, there's no need to Sunday morning and it's time to go.
Problems in Australia with the referee. We've got major problems up here. Hagan has got no control. Started out as one-handed touch, now it's full-on tackle. Let's get into it. And he returned.
Nothing gonna change, there's no need to complain.
Johnsy, come here, mate. Listen. That's what we're going to do.
See those 12 come over this way, mate, guys.
You go with Fatty's team, all right? Join in. I need some muscle. I've got you. Play on. Play on, Fat.
Monday morning and it's time to go. Wet trunks and school books and sandals. So meet about a sugar mill after school. My best friend Billy wants to go with you. Meet about a sugar mill after school. We used to love
played pretty well. We've made lots of new friends today.
new
What
friends.
about that? Yes, we've
made
loved it here
friends.
at the village of Hydes. Fantastic footy players. We've had a great time in Papua New Guinea. Tune in Thursday night for the footy show, everyone, won't you? Yes, you ready to go? So let's go.
Wishing all things could still be the same. Trying some hands over the backstop. The crew are on the ball and so the
Yeah, four guys have had absolutely no rhythm whatsoever. They do love their football up there. I've got to say, I think we signed an autograph for every person in PNG and probably shook everybody's hand as well. And on the course of our travels, we were actually handed out penis gourds. Now, I'm not quite sure what you're supposed to do with them, but the lady handed them out in what she thought was the right fashion. Fatty got the big one, I got a curly one, and Chief got a very short curly one. So I'm not quite sure what that says, but this was up at Ridge, one of the oil compounds up there. As we mentioned, they were very welcoming. We sat there and signed plenty of jerseys. Had a great time.
Of Origin, the pinnacle of a footy player's career.
Yeah, well, it's right up there. You got the Australian jumper, which is probably everyone's dream to play for Australia, but as a game and as an experience, I think Origin is the best thing you can do, nearly.
Welcome to Celebrity No Talent Time tonight, and we're going to reveal for the very first time the prize you can win at the end of this year. It's the Mitsubishi Fuso Canter camper van, and here it is.
Yes, Paul, at last we can reveal that this year's No Talent Time Gold winner will drive away in a brand new Mitsubishi Fuso Canter. Handles like a car, is packed with advanced safety features and has a comfortable feature-packed cab you will love to drive. And yes, it's still not so squeezy. And we'll be adding a camper van on the back so that you and your sumo mates can travel in style. It's a Canter camper van from our great mates at Mitsubishi Fuso. How good's that, Matt?
And he hasn't even got a licence either. Now look, all right, but tonight it's a celebrity. How was that, Matt? Good?
Ah, mate,
Drove well?
that bloke can really drive.
All right, of course, celebrity acts tonight.
Play the Knights next week, mate. There's talk that their halfback might return. I might be able to have some influence on that, give him another week off.
Well, we'd be wrapped if Joey has one more week off. I think it'd be good for him because he's got a bye, and like 3 weeks he can be nice and safe. So another week off and we won't complain one bit.
We'll talk later, Brownie. I can, you know.
Mate, hey, and I'm sure I'll talk to the boss. We'll produce something.
I knew you blokes were in that sort of stuff.
Matty John's hair on. It looks like he's picked his nose and he's rolling. You've seen people do that? Good on you, Matt. All right, we'll take our first break of the day.
Right now, they will take a break on NRL Sunday and come back to preview this clash between the Knights and the Tigers. Let's hear now from the coaches. Greg Alexander is speaking with both Michael Hagan and Tim Sheens.
Mick, 8 losses on the trot, a position the club hasn't been in and you as a coach haven't been in. Has it been hard to keep things positive?
Well, I guess it's been a difficult run for us, and events of the last 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, the boys are really putting in, and we've been within 4 on 3 occasions, and even last week within a couple of a team that's travelling pretty well. So the boys are training well, attitude's been good, and they're trying as best they can. So you can't ask much more than that at the moment.
And you've had trouble getting across the line, and you'd think up against the Tigers today, who have got plenty of points in them, that'll need to change.
Yeah, for sure. I think they're a good football team, and they play with a fair bit of variety, and I guess Benji Marshall and Scott Prince have a bit to do about that. So we've got some work to do defensively, but our forward pack's starting to take shape. We've got a couple of young halves today playing behind that, and I'm quite keen to see how they handle it, and I think they'll handle it very well.
Thanks, Mick. Good luck.
All right, mate.
Well, those young halves that Michael Hagan talks about join him in the dressing room, of course. Jared Mullen and Dane Campbell there sitting alongside the coach now with Milton Thyer Day, the former New South Wales Waratah who played 13 games in the Super 12 series for New South Wales. He will make his debut on the wing this afternoon for the Newcastle Knights. We'll see how he handles that task, of course. And another new player this year for them, helping them out in the front row, has been Craig Smith, who has done a good job for them after retiring from rugby league at the end of last year.
Well, he gives them size in the middle of the park. He also adds leadership to the sides, which they need as they're going through their dark times. Look, he can offload the football. He gets good second phase, which is something I'm sure the Tigers would have worked hard at during the week.
Okay, it's time for the toss now. Our referee is Tony Archer, and he's with the captains Danny Buderus and Scott Prince.
Scott, good luck. Thanks, mate. Danny, good luck, mate. There you go. Heads. Heads it is, mate. What do you want to do?
We'll kick off.
You kick off? That's where you want to run. Run that way. Good luck, boys.
Danny, good first half against the Roosters last week. It's got to be 80 minutes today to get the win.
Yeah, that's right. They came out and out-muscled us in the second half, and that's the period we're trying to work on, is that 15-20 minutes after half-time. So we want to resurrect that today.
And just speaking of 80 minutes, we'll get 80 out of you today?
Yeah, I hope so. It's I'm definitely running into a bit of conditioning now, so looking forward to it.
Thanks, Danny. Good luck.
Randy, tell mate.
We heard Michael Hagan speaking with Greg Alexander about keeping this team enthused. It must be tough, but it's all they have really to keep enthusiastic and come out and try and break this duck.
Yeah, at some stage they've got to turn their season around. I'm sure Michael Hagan would have had their preparation spot on, as he has done for the last 8 weeks. But the West Tigers, if they are a genuine chance of making the top 8 this season, it's a must-win game.
Okay, we're not too far away from a kick-off here on NRL Sunday in Newcastle between the Knights and the Tigers. Make sure you stay with us, but right now we'll take you back to the Fox Sports News Centre for an update with Sammy Lucas.
That's all from the newsroom for now. Our main bulletin tonight is at the earlier time of 6 o'clock Eastern, but after the break, it's back to the Knights-Tigers clash in Newcastle.
The Knights were searching for their first win of the season against the West Tigers in Newcastle, but they didn't get off to the best start. Centre Paul Fadawira opening the scoring in the 6th minute. The Knights levelled the scores through former New South Wales rugby player Milton Thaiday.
He cuts out one to give it to Thaiday, who reached out and got that first try for the Knights.
Despite being down by 10 at half-time, the Knights rallied again. Winger Anthony Quinn scoring a double to keep the home side alive, but the Tigers kept nudging in front, eventually winning 6 tries to 3.
Newcastle hasn't won a game this season, but forward Steve Simpson has emerged from the Knights as the biggest surprise in the Blues' Origin 17 announced today. It's an experienced squad with only Melbourne's Matt King and Manly's Anthony Watmow yet to play Origin football.
The Blues' starting 13 has all but been settled for almost a fortnight. From fullback through to the front row, there isn't one surprise, with Matt King beating Luke Lewis and Hazem El Masri to the vacant wing spot.
To get your name read out is, mate, I'm on cloud 9 at the moment. It's massive.
Simpson hasn't played Origin since 2002. Now over his injury concerns, he'll act as a backup prop and cover the second row from the bench.
Fiance's father sort of rang up and I thought he's mucking around. He said, I think you're in the squad. I said, I've heard it on the radio. And I said, I don't know about that.
I think it's pretty even. You know, Queensland obviously don't like having the favouritism tag, but it's just so even. It's going to be a great series.
Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
Yeah, I'd like to give a big cheerio to a family member of mine, Andrew Johns. My brother Joey turned 31 today, so well done, Joey. Yeah. Got to say, boys, it was just like yesterday. He was a kid. What a bastard he was as well. Nothing's changed.
He looks
guys,
older.
You're sweet.
Someone is not very happy with you, we've got to say.
I know, there's someone, look, you've taken someone's spot because we can't fit everyone in, and that someone is definitely upset that you're on the show, and he could be out of a job.
Well, you've probably heard the news through the week. It's in all the papers. Channel 9 have given Reagan that. Oh, well, I'll keep my chin up. It's day one and me finding a new occupation. Let's go. How you going, love? I'm after a job. Okay, easygoing, energetic person required for sales position at Willoughby. Bingo!
Old knife set and you're thinking it just doesn't cut the mustard anymore, well, you're in for a treat because Reg is here from the Dodgy Dudes to give us an awesome offer on some knives. G'day, Reg.
G'day, Roz. Long time no see. Roz looks beautiful. I've got something today, Roz, that's going to blow your mind. You see this? This is called the Steak Knife 10,000. They used it in the Space Shuttle. Remember the Space Shuttle, Roz? Oh, crazy. Just like crazy steak knives. Now, have you ever tried to cut through rump steak, Roz? How hard is it? This stuff loves rump steak. It goes like a rat up a drain pipe, Roz, and it loves carrots even more. Just watch this. Oh, and have a look at this, Roz. Oh, you don't get up for the miracle blade, do you? That's all. You can castrate a bull with this.
You can call Dodgy Dudes now on the number on your screen.
Position vacant. Must be eloquent, good-looking and genuine interest in sports, preferably soccer. Soccer? That's not my go. 50,000 a year, that is.
And now we turn our attention to football, the game they used to call soccer in this country. And we welcome our newest football analyst, the legendary Reagan. Reg, nice to see you. What's the latest in the world game this week?
Glad you asked, Les. It's been a tough week for Coach Nick Digalopoulos. He's determined to build a First Division club, Pt3, but he's confident on signing Root Van Nistel Root. Oh, who am I kidding, Les? Fair Nick, and this game's a disgrace. I mean, fair Nick, I saw a couple of blokes carried off the other day with ingrown toenails. When are they going to start throwing them, Les? Don't tell me I've offended you, Mr. SBS. Hey, I've eaten blokes like you for breakfast. Come on, take a shot.
And that's all from the other World Sports for tonight. More of the same tomorrow.
Good on you, Les. He's a great bloke, Les. Yeah.
I tell you what. I've got to give a big rap to all the people at Centrelink. Thanks for your help. And Reg just wants to thank Les Murray. Les Murray, one of the great blokes.
Absolutely.
There's going to be a blow-up. There's going to be a blow-up over Reg or
I'll tell you now, epic in the streets of Artarmon, they're looting as we speak.
Smashing windows and
That's looting, not... We're going over to Vossi now. Look good, MG. Over to you, Vossi.
And we've got a few more captains right now at our Wizard Blues captain's dinner tonight. Joey Johns, who has played 21 State of Origin matches, and the great Laurie Daly, who played in 23 State of Origins. Now, this man is hoping to add to his Origin career. Joey, first of all, happy birthday. Matty Johns, is, your brother, has given you the big wish at the top of the show.
I've been waiting for the call. I haven't heard from him all day.
That's nice.
Great brother.
Mate, will you sit comfortably on Wednesday night, the fact that you weren't available for this match, but will you be comfortable in just watching Origin?
I will, because I enjoy watching it as a spectacle, but you know, even if I was fit, I wouldn't have been picked. I'm a realist. My form this year hasn't been up to scratch, and Brad's in the best form of his career. So, you know, at this time of year, even when you're on the sideline, you hurt a bit, but as a spectacle, it's enjoying watching it.
I spoke to Danny Buderus at the top of the show about New South Wales' recent record there. It's not that flash, but playing at Suncorp Stadium for you, still a big thrill, big kick?
It's the biggest rush of all week leading up to it. You know, everywhere you go, you're reminded that you're in Queensland, and running on the field, it's that genuine hatred. You can feel the crowd, the atmosphere is unbelievable, and the players will experience it this week.
Andrew, finally, what about advice for the new blokes come Wednesday night? Anthony Watmo and Matt King.
I just think get an early touch and get into the game and settle the nerves, and I don't think play the game in your head too much during the week. Just stay relaxed, but once you get in the field, get an early touch.
All right, Andrew, thanks for captain's dinner tonight.
Oh, hang on. It's a problem? Jeez, we've got a real problem in the car park, guys. OK, just stay...
I knew it was going to happen.
Mate, don't talk to me, Fleabag. Talk to my army. You arseholes aren't sacking me. Come on! Come on!
I want to thank MG, Chief, Rebecca, Matty, Sterlo. I've got one last question. I'm very concerned about Reg's future.
What's happening with Reg?
Well, look, I don't know about Reg's future. He's on hunger strike at the moment. So what that means, I don't know, but just be ashamed to lose.
Just drinking beer.
Oh, the memories. The memories.
In case we never see Reg again, and it's possible, here's some Reg's memories. See you next week.
Picture the past that we knew yesterday. Every tear, every laugh, every step of the way. I recall what was wrong and the things that were right, and each moment belongs to the song of my life. This is the song of my life. It will go on through my life. Something you said tenderly started its music for me. Yeah. It springs from things that we share. Only through you is it
MG, I'll let you talk about a tackle from last night's game. Pretty fiery game up in Newcastle. Now, we had a situation where Josh Perry's put a high shot that went on report. Later in the game, we have players just having a minor blue and going to the sin bin for 10. Now, this is just put on report. Now, you're at issue with Josh Perry, his conduct throughout this game.
Mate, Josh Perry to me is a myth. I think that the bloke needs to look at himself in the mirror and have a real good long look at himself, because this is a front rower who's come back from a long, lengthy suspension. You're at a club who have lost their first 9 games. You're an experienced player. They don't need you on the sideline acting like a mug. He picks his mark, and it's one day in the near future, Josh Perry's going to come up against a team with some intimidators, and he's going to be put straight on his arse where he belongs, because I'm sick of it.
Matty?
Look, Josh got a problem in the sense that what's happened, he's playing as MG, an inexperienced side, and he's gone out there and said, right, I'm going to show how tough I am, I'm going to lead by example. But Josh, you don't lead by example by hitting guys high or sledging or giving cheap shots or anything like that. You lead by example by making 22, 24, 25 hit-ups a game, making 30 tackles. That's how you lead by example, mate. You've got to get your focus right.
Have you spoken to anyone, Matty, about how they feel about this? Because obviously the Knights, they've struggled all year with this. They've struggled. They have not won a game. Yep. They've got 12 first-grade players on the sideline. They're going to lose this bloke now for 5 or 6 weeks without tackle.
Yeah, and we've had to. The Knights have had to pull Smith out of retirement, who incidentally is playing fantastic football. We've had to pull him out of retirement to fill a front row spot. We get Josh back. I know they had a lot of expectations for Josh, and this happens. It's devastating.
Not that MG wants us to criticise referees, but what about the actual process there? The video referees had a look at that. And they've taken the option to put the bloke on report when you have a player knocked out unconscious on the ground. The Sunday race, we got through a range of topics today, but now Matty Johns wants to introduce fashion in the Soapbox. Matty?
Yeah, you said it's fashion. This is quite serious, Fossey. There's a rugby league player there who's trying to throw himself out as some sort of fashion guru, and let me tell you something, it's just not working. He's sending the wrong message. Just take a look at this vision. From last night, Andrew told me, fair dinkum. It's like some sort of pot-smoking bohemian throwback. It just does work. Boonie with a tie, give me a break.
OK, now, during the week we... nice, Matty. Brotherly love. Happy birthday, Joey, for the other day.
A lot of the league supporters ask, mate, what does that mean?
Mate, the whole thing says what comes from the heart touches the heart. It's just an old saying that I like, and yeah, I thought I'd get it all over my body.
All over your body?
Yeah, pretty much.
So is that the same one? All over?
Yeah, it's all the one saying, yeah.
Okay. Anywhere else? None on the backside?
No, mate, no, that's it.
I got one actually.
Show me, mate.
It's on the it's just one down there. Yeah, no, it says welcome to Cessnock. Hope you have a nice day.
Too much information.
Chimpy Johns.
Too much information.
Cessnock boy through
Nice day and a nice year, I'm telling you. All right, now, of course, Saturday night, the Storm took on the Bulldogs, Chef.
Yeah, absolutely. They took on the Bulldogs.
All right, now the Knights last night winless at home. They took on the Dragons and they came oh so close, getting beaten 18-16, but a lot better effort.
Yeah, this is where I was last night. It was a great game, 19,000 strong crowd, but the first half of the Newcastle Knights, they were lucky. They were 8-0 at half-time and were lucky to be 8-0. It was really a poor first half by them, and look, it could have been anything. We've got to give some raps to the Dragons guys. I thought Ben Hornby, in the City Country match, we had him in camp there, but we were impressed with him on and off the field. He's just a great, the way he holds himself, and he directed this St George team around fantastic. The young back rowers and Ashton Sims is playing the front row, Ben Cray, and Dean Young was, Justin Paul was outstanding as well. But the Knights, they hung in there, and towards the back end of the second half, we saw a few changes. We saw the crowd get behind them. They picked up. Their young halves really done it tough. Jared Mullen's only 18 years of age, you know. They're all really, really young, and it was very, very tough for them to get going. But with 5 minutes to go, for the first time, guys, we were in a match. We were in a match to win it. The crowd was all ready to go. Some positive signs, but still, you know, it's record time for Newcastle as far as losses. It's tough, but let's get back to the Dragons. All credit to them. They played very well. Good. Their young talent is sensational.
I thought Sean Timmins was superb for the Dragons, yet still came up with the dumbest play of the night when he interfered with a chaser. But he had a fantastic game. And you've got a point, like, the Knights haven't won a game, but I think their last 4 games at home, the biggest losing margin has been 4 points. They lost 3 in a row by 4 and then 2
They tried so hard last night, and Matt Gidley lifted, and you know, some of the players, they're not far off a win. Yep. But out of this, there was quite a spiteful game. There was a plethora of head-high shots. And I don't know what was going on, what was in the water.
Yeah, no, that was one of Lance Thompson. To tell you the truth, I don't think there's too much in that one. You can just see it was accidental, just clipped him around the face with a hand. Nothing too much with that one. But the next couple were quite interesting. Now, this first one is from Craig Smith on young Michael Henderson. And that one got on report. This kid, unluckily, later on copped another one from Josh Perry we're going to see a little bit later on. What do you guys think about that one, by the way?
Craig Smith wasn't even looking where he was going. It was reckless, no doubt about it, and I suppose high.
Now, this is the Josh Perry one, and it just started to get away here. Michael Ennis, he has got some rubbish in his game. He's a fine player, but he has got some rubbish in his game. That's Josh Perry coming up with the next play, and bang.
Yeah, that's representing the fact that there was a bit of heat in the game. The very next play, Josh come up. So I suppose it does lend the fact that there was a little bit of spite aggression.
Doesn't excuse.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. No, I'm just saying it probably makes it worse.
He could have gone in anywhere, yeah.
So Chief, unfortunate.
Chief, what is the rivalry between the Dragons and Newcastle? Because I have it on good authority at a training session many years ago. Tony Butterfield pulled the fellas together, pulled the Knights together before a Dragons game and said, look, fellas, every time we play the Dragons, there's a lot of spite, there's a lot of resentment, and it just deteriorates into a real spiteful contest. Let's keep it going.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. You know, look, it's just happened, and I think that that's what it's all about. Like, you get teams where you just don't like them, and you get into it. And I've got to say, Roosters are probably one now. We like to get into those guys. You've smacked us the last couple of times.
Can't wait to watch that.
Beautiful. No, I do, but you get teams like that, and it's fantastic. And it's just happened over the last 15, 16 years that the Dragons and Knights, they get it on, and that's what rugby league's all about.
Manly Parramatta?
The old days, Manly Balmain. We used to love playing Balmain.
Mm-hmm.
It was all good. That's
Balmain at Leichhardt on a Sunday.
Rivalry. That's what it's all
Balmain
about.
at Leichhardt on a Sunday.
Oh, it didn't get any better. Oh, you steamroll them.
Yeah.
The Chiefs very confident that when they get their players back, and I think he's right, you know, in the last couple of months of this competition before we get in the finals, Newcastle's going to be a real thorn in the side for some teams who've got high aspirations.
All right, now after the game, Jim Callanan did the interviews for us.
Got messy in the second half. Things a little bit out of control, perhaps?
Yeah, you know, I thought the ref could have taken a bit of a tougher stance on their high shots, you know, and I don't say that they meant to do the high shots or whatever, you know, but I mean, they did do a few of them. Our same young front row, 2 of them, like 3 of them were knocked out. The same bloke got knocked out twice, and then I thought, by the ref not taking a stance, I thought that we fell away, which was our fault too, you know. I'm not saying that they went out there deliberately hit him in the head, but I knew they'd test us, you know. I mean, if I had 3 older blokes playing 3 young kids, I'd be testing them too, you know, but you know, I thought that, you know, the mark might have got overstepped, and I just thought if the ref could have been a bit firmer, the whole control of the game could have been a bit better.
Did things go a little bit messy?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but that's footy, isn't it? It's never going to be prim and proper the whole time when you're trying to belt blokes, and that's what everyone was trying to do out there, so it was a bit of fun.
Nathan Brown can say all he likes. We're a team, we're here to win a game, and that's what it's all about.
As I said, I'm not trying to cause a war or anything or an argument. I'm not challenging them blokes about it. You know, they're good players. You know, Craig Smith's played for a long time, and Josh Perry's played Origin. Adam Warner's a good player too. You know, but when you sense you've got an edge on some people, you know, you're going to take it. You know, and if roles and that had been on the field, I mean, it's the same in every good sides have got some, you know, some good tough players, and
And you know, I was happy when Willie Manu stood up Adam Warner. I mean, that's what mates have got to do, and that's what football sides need to do.
He's not playing anymore, is he? So he's entitled to a say. You know, that's footy.
Yeah, former St George player himself, Craig Smith. 4 wins in a row now for the Dragons, and they continue their move up the premiership ladder.
And welcome back to the Sunday Footy Show. Does it get any better than this? On the balcony of the studio, we've got the water feature, we've got the barbecue. It's about 20 degrees, a beautiful autumn day. And my spies tell me at the base of the mountains it's a beautiful day at Penrith as well for this afternoon's clash with the Sharks and the Panthers. So if you get the chance, go down there and have a look. Now, a big story. It's just breaking at the moment. I just got off the phone to Steve Crowe, the media manager of Newcastle. Mark Hughes played 60 minutes of last night's game with a broken ankle. Now, Mark will be out pretty much for the rest of this season. He's off contract at the end of the year. He's just married. He's got a young child. Tough times for Mark Hughes, of course, played the 97 grand final and the 2001. So all the best from the Sunday Footy Show to Mark Hughes. 60 minutes with a broken ankle, that is unbelievable. Michael Hagan, of course, flew back to Newcastle last night. He's back with the side. And one player that was there watching the Newcastle St George game was Steve Simpson. He's had a horror run the last few years, particularly last year with injury, and it was about time he got some good news.
Oh, I suppose so. Last year's, very disappointing, especially like breaking my foot and then first game back, breaking my jaw as well. But you put that behind you. I try to forget about that year and just get on with this year and touch wood, it's going good so far.
Was it a bolt from the blip?
Well, it looks like it, but I was outside the 30, which I suppose might have been called a bolt. But my form's been okay, so it was a great surprise though.
Steve Simpson, 3 sleeps to go, Origin time.
Had a great show today. Thanks for watching. Time to wrap it up. And Chief, you want to give a special mention to Mark Hughes?
Yeah, I do. As we found out in Tim Gilbert's excellent report there, Mark Hughes played 60 minutes of that game last night with a broken ankle. And I'd just like to say, mate, that's a fantastic effort. He probably missed the rest of the season, I suppose. But a tough year for the Knights, and he's a great bloke from Curry and a real stalwart from the club. Good luck, mate, and get better.
Good, plenty of ticker there.
St George Illawarra coach Nathan Brown will question referee's boss Robert Finch this week following his side's fiery win over Newcastle last night. Brown says the Knights were allowed to bully his young side and thinks Newcastle should have had at least one player sent off. In other games last night, the Bulldogs downed the Storm, while New Zealand were too strong for Souths.
After a shocking start to the year, the Dragons have now won 5 games in a row. Even so, it wasn't a happy coach, Nathan Brown, after last night's win over Newcastle.
We come here and I said to our young guys, so these older blokes are going to have a go at you for sure and try and stand over you. And the referee kept letting them get away with it.
2 players were sin-binned for fighting and 3 players were put on report in a spiteful match. Brown thinks Knights prop Josh Perry was extremely lucky to stay on the field for his high shot.
If that was Adrian Morley, he would have got sent off and got life. That's what Josh Perry did to Michael Anderson. So, where's the balance, you know?
Missing 5 State of Origin players, St George Illawarra led 18-4 before a Newcastle comeback, and while they fell short this time, there were some good signs for the winless Knights.
As difficult as it is for this football club and as tough as we're doing it at the moment, we do have a fair bit to look forward to.
Newcastle's dreadful season is set to continue following last night's spiteful loss to St George Illawarra. Knights props Josh Perry and Craig Smith are both on report after separate tackles that left young Dragons forward Michael Henderson in a sickening state.
It's the first time the Dragons have won 5 straight since '99.
There's no one at home.
Not that they're celebrating the treatment of Michael Henderson.
There's a high shot there.
If Jason Rolls had been on the field, I doubt they would have had the courage to do it. That's my personal opinion.
The Knights had their own complaints.
The penalty on Craig Smith in possession, after he'd been elbowed to the head on the ground and then he grabbed the other player, for us to be penalised in possession on play 1 was a really bad call.
But it didn't excuse Josh Perry's response the very next play.
So a high shot there on Henderson.
If that was Adrian Morley, he would have got sent off and got life. That's what Josh Perry did to Michael Anderson. Nathan Brown can say all he likes. We're a team, we're here to win a game, and that's what it's all about.
Lance Thompson's also on report as the winless Knights slumped to the worst start to a season for any team since 1966.
Now look, it's time now for Beam Me Up, and this is a wonderful segment. Tonight we've got a special guest with Steve Walters. Yeah. Yes, Steve. Steve is taking on a mystery guest. I'm not sure who it is, but I believe he's been around the studio before. And I think he's coming through. Who is it? Who will it be?
Oh, yeah, I'm back and I'm pissed. Yeah. I tell you what, Pat, they could sack Don Burke, but they couldn't sack me. Get that up, ya. How you going, son? I love you. And I'm back because of you people, not these bludgers. OK,
No, we didn't want you back. Reg, where have you been?
I've been on hunger strike, Fat.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I kill for a Chico roll at the moment. Box? What do they call your box?
Square head, sorry.
Oh, right, I've done something else. Disappointing, really.
Now, Reg,
OK, what's the go
this has
here,
been me
Fatty?
up. Are you a smart man?
I'm a sexy, smart man, Fat, you know that.
All right, now, it's
Thanks,
been me
ladies.
up. Ready to go, boys? Test your buzzer. Sweet.
I'm rumbling.
Sweet as. All right, here we go. It's time for Beam Me Up. That'll do, mate. Oh. It's Eddie Vorton. Oh, good on you, Ed. Now, look. OK, ready to go? Is the town of Cunnamulla in Queensland or New South Wales?
Queensland, mate.
And you've got to spell it now.
C-U-N-N. That music's making me nervous. C-U-N-N-A-M-U-L-L-A.
That's it.
Oh,
yes, Stevie boy. You've got nothing, Reg. Pick a game up.
Got nothing downstairs. I'll give you the drum.
How many tries do the magnificent mercurial journeyman 5'8" Matt Johns score in his State of Origin career?
0.
Yeah. That's right, Reg.
I'm back.
I got no idea how you got that right, honestly. How many sets of brothers have played State of Origin for Queensland and name them? How many sets of brothers? Yep.
There's Walters.
Yeah, the Walters.
Kerrod, Kevin and Steve.
Yeah.
Then there's Smiths.
Yeah, the Smiths.
Music, Jason and Darren.
Yeah.
And there's one more too.
Well, there is one more. And Vortan would be a... what name?
Sorry?
Vortan.
Vortan.
Let's not give any tips, you big fool.
French.
Oh! Ian French and Brett French.
Yes! How did you get that?
Ian
Well
French.
done.
Yeah.
Excellent. Taste test, boys.
Ooh.
You have to have a sip.
I don't think Reg might have the edge
out of
here.
that. Have a sip of that. You have a sip of that. Then we're going to swap over.
I'll drink goat's piss if it made me drunk. So what do we do?
Just sip it. You got to tell me which one of these. You don't know. Now you swap from the other side, right? And tell me which one is KB and which one is 4X. All right? Reg, that'll do.
Oh, that's beautiful.
All right.
Yeah, Reggie, finish that off, mate.
All right. First up, what do you pick? Which one's KB, Reg?
Fat A's KB.
Which one's 4X?
I reckon A's.
All right,
4X.
here we go. The reveal. A's KB. Well done. Have a beer while we're going, champ.
Great to have you back, old friend.
Of the three Walters brothers, which one scored the most tries in State of Origin and who scored the least? Yes.
I would say the bloke who scored the most would be Kevin, and the bloke who scored the least would be Stephen.
That's exactly right. Which one of these is actually a fair dinkum footy club? It's a choice of three. The Dirranbandi Didgeroos, the Warilla Gorillas, or the Frederington Freddos?
It's the Warilla Gorillas, Pat. I played for them in 73.
73, of course you did. Is that where you got the president's wife pregnant? Is that the one?
Less said about that, the better.
OK, look at this take. This is, of course, Steve Weidler's taking on Benny Elias a few years ago. What did Benny say and did he deserve it? Here they are, bit of a melee. Steve, box, Benny, into it.
Jeez, I tell you what, didn't have a nice arse on him, Benny Elias.
I think you finished on top there, Stevie boy.
Yeah, what was the question?
Well, the question is, what did Benny say to get you upset and did he deserve to get whacked?
Well, he did deserve...
Yeah. Yes?
He did deserve to get whacked, but I can't remember what he said.
That's good. That's the right answer. OK. How many sets of brothers have played Origin football for New South Wales?
OK, it was those Puffy Johns brothers were one. We had the Mortimer brothers with 2. We had the Wynn brothers, 3.
Yep.
We had the bloody... who are the other ones, Pat? Come on, give me a tip. You helped your big mate over there.
They were great guys.
The Goya brothers,
Yes,
Pat.
that's it, Reg. Well done, mate. It's another taste test.
There we go, mate. What's the score?
It's, I don't think you're going that well, Steve. Yeah. Taste A and then taste B. Ever eaten a banana? Reg, it helps. It helps if you take the skin off.
Mate, I haven't eaten for 2 weeks, Pat.
All right, now, taste that one quick, because I've got to find... One's from Queensland, one's from New South Wales. Which is which?
I reckon B's from Queensland,
right,
it tasted like shit.
A's from Queensland.
So I'm right.
That's it. Well done,
I tell you what.
Welcome back, Ted.
Let's finish it. Let's finish this.
What? Yeah.
Let's finish this like men. Arm wrestle. Let's go. Wallace. Let's go.
Hey. You're gone! Reggie! Thanks, Reg. Thanks, Steve. We'll go to our next break. Of course, the Best Of DVD is out. It came out last Sunday. It's already sold 42 copies. It's going really well. And, of course, some of the greatest stuff is Reg Reagan at his best. Back in a minute.
The premieres. Look at you. Hey, what about the footy show? You like the footy show? Oh, the footy show! Oh, yes. No, guys, Sydney! Hang on, 1 lunatic at a time, thank you. How do you around me, you know, because women usually, they love me, don't they?
I feel so warm and excited.
Yes. Do that again for me.
Woo!
One more time.
Woo!
Oh, brought back a lot of memories, that.
I bet
Look at Stacey. The two little monkeys aren't there. Jones and Johns. They're both missing.
You're calling John's a monkey?
Oh.
I don't think he'd be real happy about that.
Oh, well, we're going to be happy about that. What's he going to do? Oh, come and take a shot, fat ass. Do after full time, old son, when they have the series wrapped up. How do you celebrate these days?
I got pissed.
What'd you say to him?
I said, mate, go back to Queensland. Don't come back here. Don't come to our territory.
Mate, that's classic stuff. And what else did you say?
Mate, I said, what about O'Meal to give it to Crocker? Wasn't that great? Give it to That was awesome, Reggie.
It was awesome. What else did you say?
Mate, I just said, don't come back.
That's so clever. Yeah, mate, that's awesome. What else? Anything else?
Nah, that's about it, Reg.
Oh, really? That was great, wasn't it? Hey, you Blues supporters?
Man, your stomach is very close to me.
That's not my stomach. What about bloody Gower? What about bloody Hurdler? Hey, what about bloody Bulldogs? You pull your weight? You pull your weight?
Around the house?
Yeah.
Sure I do, yeah.
Oh, I bet you pull your bloody weight, you do. Crazy kids. crazy kids.
You know what? Can I do something?
Yeah.
Can I give you a kiss? You make my life happy when I watch the footy show.
Oh, you are bloody fancy. There's a bloody team you're right, isn't
I
there?
know, I'm so happy to meet you.
Oh, come here.
All right.
Also in the night's match on the weekend, there were 3 high shots, which is probably unusual in the one match, but Josh Perry being the only one to get some head high. This one, it wasn't too much in this one. It was a grade 1 careless high. He only got 56 points. Craig Smith also in one here. Didn't get a week suspension, got 84 points for the same tackle. But Josh Perry was the one who received 5 weeks. Unfortunate for Josh, he's only just come back from injury and was involved in that tackle. He's going to be out for another 5 weeks. Makes it pretty tough for the Knights too, because they really need him on board. So there's the shots from the weekend, guys.
Time for League of Their Own, and Reggie Reagan's got it covered with Steve Waller's in the crowd.
There's $50,000 up for grabs from Crazy Johns in League of Their Own. I'm buoyed by Boxhead Walters, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. This week's League of Their Own winner was sent in by 5-year-old Josh O'Leary, and have a look at this young bloke go. He's pretty handy. He's running, he's stepping, he's jiving, he's jumping. He's running and he's still going. And there he goes, and he's brought down, ladies and gentlemen, in a tackle. And let me tell you something, it was a good tackle, but let me tell you something, Boxy, he's hurt. Now, what would you do here? Is it Danker rub? Is it emu oil?
Magic sponge job, that one, yeah.
Now, listen, he's running with the ball again, and you can tell just the way he absolutely loves the game, as Mario Fennick would say. And he's running towards the post, and he's a great young Australian. And let me tell you something, people, he scores the try. Josh, this is what you can win. The weekly winners of League of Their Own will receive the ultimate in racing fun. A new look PlayStation 2 console, a Logitech Steering Force Pro wheel, and Gran Turismo 4. It's sensational. It's the most realistic car racing game ever produced. Only available exclusively on PlayStation 2. And this year's League of Their Own winners will be pocketing an enormous $50,000 courtesy of our great mates at Crazy Johns. You heard it right, 50,000 big ones. Thanks to Crazy Johns. Great Telstra prices guaranteed. And you old shaggers out there, send your League of Their Own lock bag entry into the lock bag 15, Willoughby, New South Wales, 20... Can you see that?
I'll finish it off, mate. 2068.
2068.
Those KBs are starting to hit the spot now.
You're a tough bloke, Box. Ever been to prison, Boxhead? No, you haven't. OK, coming after the break, more footy show.
Yeah, just about the time to wrap up the footy show, but some important announcements coming your way. Don't forget, Sunday morning, the Rugby League Fair starts at 11 o'clock with the Sunday Roast, debating League's controversial issues. That's followed by the Sunday version of the footy show. Fatty, myself and Gus will be joining us. We'll be looking at all the weekend action as well as some Origin. And that's followed by Boots and All. Good fun, the Boots and All program. Vossi does a great job there with Phil Gould. And don't forget, we've got Rugby League later on that afternoon. And Rugby League week this week, Johnny Morris on the front. He'll be a key performer for them when they go to Toyota Park on Saturday night.
Yeah, guys, and the VB Origin Man of the Match winner was supposed to be a graphic go. Come on, amateurs. Man of the Match winner goes to Casey Kuehl of Shortland, New South Wales. And, of course, she picked Steve Price, who had a bloody good game.
Now, guys, as everyone would know by now, Australia lost a TV legend yesterday with Graham Kennedy. Now, Graham won 19 Leagues, including 5 gold statuettes, since he burst on the scene in 1957. Now, Channel 9 will be screening a 1-hour tribute to the King of Australian TV tomorrow night at 7:30. It's something very special.
He was an absolute genius, much loved by everyone. He was a dead set the king of television. And Boxer Salvos, they do a great job.
Salvos this weekend, Fatty. It's their main fundraiser for the year. The Door Knock Appeal, Red Shield, I think it's called there, mate. Details are on the screen there, so if they come knocking on your door, try and answer it if you can. If you've got a bit of spare cash, try to help out because they do some wonderful things.
They help people in crisis. Great work for the Red Shield Appeal. All right, listen, thanks very much for watching tonight. We appreciate your support. Isn't it great to have Reggie back? Yes, it is. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the Footy Show next week. Get out and support your team. Have a great weekend.
Also today, Newcastle's Andrew Johns had his first full session with the Knights since breaking his jaw. But while there's calls for him to jump straight into the Blues side for Origin 2, the halfbacks defended Brett Kamali's performance in Game 1.
Wouldn't matter if Superman was out there in number 7 the other night, he wouldn't have made an impact. New South Wales had no ball and they were putting Brett under all sort of pressure, so I felt for him a little bit.
Even so, Johns predicts he'll be in top form from the outset of his comeback. He plans to return against the Broncos next week.
I feel really focused, on the mental side of things, but physically I feel unbelievable. So it's one thing feeling it and getting out in the field and reproducing it, but I'm confident once I get on the field that I can really make an impact.
All the talk since Origin has been Andrew Johns. Will the Blues selectors bring Andrew Johns back into the squad? Well, I had the opportunity to speak to Andrew during the week, and the irony of the whole thing is that it's a group of Queenslanders that have got him feeling as fit as he's ever felt. He's been training with the Queensland Institute of Sport.
Yeah, it's the program they got in place for players to come back from knee reconstructions, and they've just taken the training to a new level. Every day I turn up, I'm terrified of what they're going to put in front of me, but I feel that strong and fit. I just can't wait to get on the field.
How's the jaw?
Jaw's good. I had a taste of steak last night. It took me about a minute to eat a mouthful, but it felt good to chew it. So I'll be right in a fortnight.
Can't wait to get back. So the bye this weekend, obviously, with Newcastle, and back next week.
Yeah, I just can't wait to get back. Probably because I'm training that hard, I know I'm really ready, but also, before I got injured, I wasn't playing that well because, a few factors. My knee wasn't probably back to where I'd like to be, and the confidence was right down. So I think now with all this training, my confidence will be back, and I'm just stinging to play. I can't wait.
And you still got 4 weeks, give or take a few days for Origin. There's every chance you could get back in.
Oh, it's the furthest thing from my mind. I just want to get back and play for the Knights. If anything happened, it would be sensational. But furthest thing from my mind.
Well, there couldn't be a better trial game. Brisbane Broncos at full strength next weekend. Andrew Johns, we look forward to his return.
All right, boots and all by request. There are lots of tries that we get requests for, but one try in particular probably gets more than the other.
I'd like $1 for every time someone wants the Darren Albert try from the 1997 Grand Final. Now, Andrew Robinson from Parks is the latest to request this try. We thought we'd show more than that. We'll show something of the whole day, which was a great day for the Knights and Rugby League.
Newcastle. I think most of the boys are in tears. People lined up for 30 k's out of Newcastle. We were down for all money there for a while. To cattle these blokes, the best thing that ever happened to a man, and I'm that proud of him.
I was just hoping no one had cut me down before I got there. It was cutting it really fine. I didn't know how long it was on the clock. And it was just luck, like, it just opened up for me. I don't know how it happened, I just did, and I'm happy.
I could not stop, but you now know, singing, come out upon my seas, curse me, stop, opportunities, am I a part of the cure, or am I part of the disease, singing, you.
Also, Andrew Johns gets ready to put pressure on for a Blues role.
One of those not in the original squad is former Blues captain Andrew Johns, who's back from injury this weekend.
Physically, I'm so much better shape than I was in, say, February or March. I've just got so much more power.
If Johns sparks into impressive form against Brisbane on Sunday, the pressure mounts on current number 7, Brett Kimmorley.
They have the win on whatever day it is, and he plays well, then it's obviously going to, continue to build. So, mate, all I can do is play good.
Origin 2, do you even hold a thought of that?
No, it's hard not to. Everyone's talking about it, but no, it's furthest thing from my mind. I just want to get back and play well Sunday.
So Joey Johns makes his long-awaited comeback this weekend.
Or spices up Andrew Johns' comeback on Sunday. A broken jaw has kept the Knights captain sidelined for 6 weeks. And while a recall to the Blues isn't likely, it remains an option.
Physically, I'm so much better shape than I was in, say, February or March. I've just got so much more power in my backside and in my right side of my body.
If I play good and put my hand up to give a shot for game 2, then I think the rest is, I suppose, comes down to Monday when they sit in the room and discuss the team.
Both number 7s get the chance to excel on the weekend. Johns against Brisbane, Kimmorley the Cowboys. Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
25 metres out from the goal line. He gets to his feet. They come to the left-hand side again. Kurt Gidley looking for runners. Mark Hughes walking around. Now he passes it back to Kurt. He runs across field. He throws the dummy through. Now it comes to Steve Witt. Here's Salkett for the corner.
Welcome back to Main Game, and we'll see if that becomes a certain Newcastle try a little later. Well, as we reach the halfway stage of the NRL season, superstars Sonny Bill Williams and Andrew Johns are set to make their long-awaited returns. And a standout display against the Broncos would make Johns an Origin certainty. James Hooper.
Unfortunately not case. Look, you'd love to see the great Joey Johns back in that arena, but at this point in time, he hasn't got the form on the board. The selectors will stick with Brett Kimmorley, who I think will play a better game, boys, without Steve Price there, putting that really difficult pressure. He's the best kick charge exponent in the game.
I think Joey might be in and around selection come Origin 3. I think Noddy will stay for Origin 2, which he deserves, but come 3, I think Joey might be there.
Yeah, the real benefit too for New South Wales this time around is that Steve Price is not there, because he put tremendous pressure on Brett Kimmorley in that opening game, and it was his pressure that caused Brett Kimmorley to have such a poor kicking game, and because of that, New South Wales never had the field position that they needed, and then every problem they had then stemmed from there. Without Steve Price this time around, New South Wales are in good.
Well, Joey's going to get his timing back too. I mean, he's been out for a long time. I mean, his timing was gone early. That's why he got the head knock in the first place. His head was in the wrong position.
And for a preview of all this weekend's football, check out a copy of tomorrow's Main Game lift-outs around the country. Here's just a taste.
In Brisbane's Courier Mail, he's back. Can Joey Johns rescue the Knights? In Sydney's Daily Telegraph, can Parramatta go all the way? In Melbourne's Herald Sun, he's on speed and Essendon fans love it. And in Big League, Ricky Stuart's plan to save Fitzy.
OK, let's have another look at that NRL vision from round 7. It's Newcastle and the Bulldogs, and it's almost full time. Dean Ritchie, tell us more.
Yeah, a bit hazy on this one, to be brutally honest, Case. I wasn't at the game. I do recall reading about it. I think you'll find that Kurt Gidley makes the bust here, and the Knights look like they're going to score, which would have got them on the board for the year, and also, who knows, maybe on a bit of a roll, because at the moment they're struggling, haven't won a game. But if you look at the vision, I think you'll see that Luke Patton comes across and makes one of the great try-saving tackles of the season. There it is, the Knights denied, down by 4 points. 5 seconds to go, game over. Knights still to win a game, and as of that point, and still to win a game as of this very moment. They've got the Broncos this weekend, so you'd expect that trend to continue.
It's certainly looking grim.
Of course, the most talked about point over the last few weeks, and will be probably for another week or two, is who will be the number 7 in the New South Wales second state of origin. You still say Brett Camorley?
Absolutely, yeah. Give him another shot. Look, Joey, champion player, but he's only played 10 games in 1.5 seasons, and I just think it's too big a call for this particular game.
I've got mail. Here's my mail is this, coming out of the New South Wales bunker, is that Trent Barrett will be chosen as halfback, and Braithen Astor has the chance to be 5'8". That is my mail.
Before you go, I agree with Sterlo. I said it last week. I think Noddy deserves his spot, but unfortunately the pressure's been building all week for him. It must be tough, but it'll come down to the weekend's game. He is playing Jonathan Thurston, so I think that could be the clincher.
Well, the other thing too for Andrew, what's handy for Andrew is that they play the Broncos this weekend. And when Andrew comes on here, I'll say this, guys, you're going to see a bloke who's not only physically ready to go, he's mentally ready to go. I think he'll have a big game this week, and if that's the case, I think they're crazy to leave him out of the 17.
Speaking of the man, please make a welcome Andrew Johns. Joey, I must say you do look fit. That normally massive derriere of yours seems to have slimmed down a bit.
What do you want to say? It has, mate, yeah. It's not looking too bad.
Mate, all this talk that you're coming back on Sunday, it's a huge game for you personally. Has the talk about Origin selection been a motivation or a distraction or neither?
Oh, no. If anything, it's flattering. I suppose I'm used to now coming back from injury. But, no, the pressure hasn't got to me at all. My main focus, I've said all along, is just the Knights game against the Broncos. After that, whatever happens, so be it. But I'm just thinking about the Knights game.
Joe, I've got to ask you, mate, when you came back first time around, I suppose there was a sense of uncertainty with the knee. This time when I talked to you, you're so positive, you're on mentally. What has been the main difference?
Well, I've done a program in Queensland. I've been at the Queensland Institute doing a program for my knee, getting the power back in my backside, getting some strength in my leg, and I know that the leg won't go. I'm confident in it. I've got strength back in it.
Jaw's not a factor?
No, the jaw's fine. I'll be fine.
So plenty of metal in there.
Your backside's getting plenty of mentions. Have you thought about insuring it at all or anything like that?
No way in the world.
I was going to say we love your backside, but I don't know.
Joey, let's get into this game against the Broncos now. Siege, Lowry, yourself and Kurt Gidley were to come back and play their first game in a long while. Unbelievably for the Knights, Kurt Gidley out with a quadricep, just come back this week at training. Tell us about it. He's torn the other one out for 3 to 6 weeks. More bad luck.
We're just doing some a bit of speed work today, running about 80-90%, and Kurt's torn his other quad, so it's unbelievable really. I think we've had 5 or 6 quad tears this year, but a young guy, Jared Mullen, comes in. He's been playing there a little bit.
He goes good, yeah.
He's only 18-year-old, and from my point of view, I'm pumped about playing with him. It's going to be great. It's the enjoyment as an older player is bringing these young players on. So looking forward to playing with him.
Some more positives, like it is first place taking on last place, but 4 out of the 5 games at home this year, it's only by 4 points or less. We're getting closer. We're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting close, but we're just losing concentration and we're lacking a little bit of experience. Hopefully this week it'll change. Hopefully I can add a little bit. But traditionally, the Knights-Broncos games are always big games. They're always open and we always go well. I'm sure we're going to go well Sunday, so get out and support us. I think it will be a great game.
You're almost pleading for
mate,
a wait.
What about this? There's one more stat. The last 5 times, the second game after Broncos play Origin, they've lost the last 5 times. We're a chance, mate. There's something can happen.
Joey, your thoughts about it? I mean, the Broncos side reflects the state of Origin team. Whenever the Knights play the Broncos the last few years, you spread the ball wide. Do you think that's the secret to beating Queensland?
Well, I think when they got the ball wide in New South Wales, they looked very, very dangerous. Queensland have got a massive pack, and when they use the ball, they look dangerous on the edge. Every time Mark Gasnier got it, something was on. So, I'm not the coach. Ricky knows more than anyone, so I suppose he'd be looking at the videos.
All right, Joey, crunch question. I want to ask you a crunch question. You get through a crunch question. You get through Sunday against the Broncos. You play well, as we all think you will. They announced the New South Wales team on Monday. Do you want to see your name in the number 7 jumper?
I'd love to, mate. I'd love to play from the state. Being up there and see the atmosphere, I'd love to be part of Origin too.
Right,
but there's a lot of buts.
Can you make an impact off the bench?
Well, if they pick me there, I don't know where they'd find a position. I think Craig Wing's a specialist there. I don't know where they'd find a spot, although I think I could play front row at a pinch.
Well, you might have a few weeks ago, but not the new slim look, Joey Johns. Now, Sonny Bill Williams was to come on the show. As a matter of fact, his management rang the program earlier in the week and wanted to come on the show. But after training today, Sonny Bill has decided, and we agree with it, he just wants to get ready for Saturday night against South Sydney for the Bulldogs, so he hasn't come on. But we'll get him on in the next few weeks, that's for sure. Sonny Bill, he's a great young kid. And Joey, you've played against him. How good is he?
He's... I saw him play a couple of years ago, and I was blown away by his natural ability, but he's just unstoppable. I'm just so happy he's playing our game, but I actually haven't played against him. I'm not really looking forward to it.
Apparently he's not fussing. He doesn't like you, Jar, so could we...
I don't like him either.
Mate, the Dogs,
yes, I do.
They need him back on the paddock too.
Well, they need him, they need Mason, they need O'Meara, they need
He's a good start.
Tonga, they need them all.
Good start. I'm just trying to work. I'm looking at Newcastle. Chief newly directed to the board. Worst start for Newcastle ever. You do the math.
Mate, we're working on it. Something.
Okay.
Give us a year.
Joey Johns, your contract is up at the end of 2006, is it?
2000. What year are we in now?
It'll be 2
No,
no
you're
idea.
right. He's back mentally.
1980.
He's back.
I'm on it.
Any chance of you ending up in the Gold Coast at some
I'd
stage?
say the end of next year will do me, fatty.
You look good with a fake tan, actually.
I got one on now.
Look, the Seagulls, it's all about their back row. Ben Kennedy, probably one of his best weeks of football last week. Just absolutely sensational.
How did you blokes let Ben Kennedy go up there at Newcastle? He's just been great for the Eagles.
I got no idea.
All right, we'll move on. Not happy. As we go to our break, of course, Tom Raudonikis coming up after the break. Here's one of Tommy's great stories.
But the stage is set. Game 3 in the Coca-Cola State of Origin is underway.
And I had a call, and it was called Cattledog. And Spud Carroll loved it. And what it meant, we put a stink on, we were in trouble.
Aiken has brought through. Aiken's on his way. He's going to score. Aiken scores for Queensland.
Oh, they're on fire.
Tommy had this call called Cattledog where we go to the scrum and a fight would be called. I was playing hooker at the time. I wasn't too keen on the call. Tommy's on the bench there and he's screaming, Cattledog, however Tommy talks.
The scrum sort of packed down and Steve Menzies just put his head up and he said, oh no, not the dreaded Cattledog. Poor old Steve Menzies couldn't crush a grape.
Spud's unloaded. He's taking it hard, as Spud does.
Now they come up out of the scrum and Mark Carroll is throwing them. Andrew Jones is looking for Goddard.
And I was choked up against Jimmy Goddard. The next thing I've copped about 10 in the face. So they broke us up. I thought, hang on, I want to at least try to land one. So I've come around and put a great sidestep on the touch judge or the referee and come around and threw another couple at him, missed him, and then...
There's Andrew Jones trying to get around. The Jamie Goddard's hitting with the best side hand you've ever seen, like, and put him straight on his back. Goddard,
Johns has got blood streaming from a mouth wound.
I've sort of come to in the sheds, getting about 27 stitches up my lip here, with Tommy Raudonikis above me barking at me, get out there, you weak so-and-so.
They're little things I've done, and I don't, but I think people love that. You can't do that today, but today's today.
Well, Tommy, you didn't get the bickies on the day, but good memories. Got to ask you, mate, the Gold Coast, what do you think about them coming to the competition?
I don't know. I've got a bit of a question mark on it because they failed up there before, and I can't see it changing, really. I know it's all the hype, and everybody reckons it's going to work. I don't think it will. I think where they've got to go, they've got to relocate somebody on the Central Coast. I'll put it this way. Look at the following year. You'd get all the great Western Suburbs players, Newtown players, and the Redfern players. They'd all go up there. But I'll tell you something too, you'd have no crime in Sydney, would you? Why doesn't Singo, here's one for you, why doesn't Singo go and buy Newcastle and play half games at Newcastle and half down there?
Well, there you go. What about that, Singo? I don't want to bug you, but a mate of mine's been bugging me. He thinks he's seen a couple of flaws he can really help you out. I know you've been doing stuff with Roy Jones Senior, but this guy's really good. Oh, yeah, he'll chat. Reg.
Hey guys, how you doing? What's this? I learnt this on Costa Zoo.
That's it, Reggie, the road but don't, mate.
Go, Reggie! Come on, get back to me. Go, Reggie!
Look, they hearts racing, they start chasing bombs so fast when I blow past like they can.
Now, what's the latest on Origin?
Look, you guys were talking earlier about Andrew Johns and whether he's going to be in the Origin side. The mail is that if he's fit and dominates on the weekend and his confidence is back, he will be considered. He probably needs a 9 or a 10 out of 10 performance to be the halfback, but he's definitely going to be considered. He won't be a bench player, that's for sure.
3 tries have gone in there. Fitzgibbon from the sideline. Fitzgibbon from the sideline. Hits the crossbar. Bounces over. Another 2 points.
Basically, for me, my biggest trouble is focusing when I'm tired, and I think I just try and relax. I suppose it's a bit, make sure my legs nice and slow coming through the ball and don't try and stab at it.
Try and pick out a spot where I'm aiming, and usually in the centre of the post. At home here it's easy, I pick a seat in the stadium, and that's where I aim at.
Yeah, I generally aim for the right upright, and the way I kick the ball usually, or hopefully swings back towards the middle of the post. I take 5 steps back and 2.5 across.
Practice makes perfect, and you got to put in the effort to get the result, and that's exactly right.
Trailing by 1 to win it. He's got it away. It has got there. He has picked it. The flags are in the air. So are the Canterbury Bulldogs.
Well, of course, Brett Kimmorley was under huge pressure after Origin 1, and certainly all eyes were on him and in his club side match against the Cowboys yesterday. How did you feel he played?
Well, it's very hard. He was on the back end of a beaten forward pack. He's on the back end of a huge loss. It doesn't help him at all in regards to trying to put form on the board. And you do need players around you, and that's how it is. It's very difficult for him at the moment.
Ricky, I guess the judges were saying, in terms of the halfback position and going into this weekend, that Brett Kimmorley would have to have a shocker and Andrew Johns would have to have virtually an unbelievable man of the match kind of game. Do you think realistically Andrew Johns is in the calculations?
Well, he's playing, so he certainly is in their calculations. Yeah. And Joey'd have to come out and have an 11 or 12 out of 10 performance today, and realistically he's a taller player that can do that. If he comes out and has that sort of game today, you obviously got to look at him. What's the concern with Joey? Is it fitness? I think it's just a matter of being out of the game for so long in regards to coming back and playing at a high level, a high intensity match of Origin. But good players like Joey Johns can do it, and I'm not pushing his barrow at all. It's just a matter of Joey coming out today and showing us what he has actually gotten and what has he improved on over the last 6 to 8 weeks. He keeps telling us that his fitness is good, his knee's better, so that's a good sign for Joey and also for New South Wales and Newcastle.
But I'd also imagine if he does play well enough for you to consider him, he'd be the sort of player who just being in the side lifts everyone else around him, because he's almost bigger than the game just by who he is.
He does lift people around him, but we've got a number of players in the New South Wales side that can do that. The guy I just mentioned, Ben Kennedy, he's one player that I know a lot of people look to lift them, to give them that extra spark. And he's a player that excites people around him because he's so passionate and he loves playing his Origin footy. And he's come out and said that it's his last series, and Benny Kennedy is the sort of player that he lifts people around him as well. Not to say Joey doesn't. I mean, Joey does do that, but we've got players there that can do that as well. It's a matter of Joey putting form on the board, and that's what he's got to do today, and then we have a look at the result at the end of the day.
Price is he? Evans, he's that good. Here he comes. Struck it pretty well. I tell you what, he has kicked it! Andrew Johns, you are the Messiah! Oh, what a kick! What a way to end it here in Newcastle!
Yeah, generally aim for the right, upright, and the way I kick the ball usually, or hopefully swings back towards the middle of the post. I take 5 steps back and 2.5 across and have a real slow approach to the ball and just try to get nice rhythm and even strikes through the ball and hopefully goes over.
Andrew Johns' chances of making a return to State of Origin may rest in the hands of the judiciary after his high tackle on Brisbane's David Stagg. Johns and his team started well, but they were no match for the Broncos. Trent Higgs has the latest on the round 13 action.
Thanks, Ryan. Not even the return of Andrew Johns could help Newcastle break their winless run this season. It was a forgettable comeback from a broken jaw for the Knights halfback. His high shot on David Stagg escaped report but may come under scrutiny from the NRL match committee.
Surprised he wasn't placed on report.
His chances of playing in Wednesday week's second State of Origin match for New South Wales may be in doubt, even if he is selected tomorrow morning. Newcastle coach Michael Hagan was happy with Johns' efforts, even though the Knights lost again.
First game in 8 weeks or so was extremely positive for him and for the team, and we can certainly build on that. We didn't want to put too much pressure or expectation on him because it's been that long since he's played, and he just has to find his feet again and get his timing and get his confidence. I certainly think he's done that.
Johns got the Newcastle backline moving as the home side took a surprise 10-0 first half lead. This try for Milton Thaiday. From there, the Knights weren't in the contest as the Broncos went on a stampede, cruising for a 34-16 win.
Steps inside, Gidley goes himself and will score the try.
Not everything went to plan for Johns against the informed Broncos. This intercept tried to Dane Carlo another chapter in the home side's season of disappointment. Brisbane coach Wayne Bennett believes New South Wales don't have a problem in the halves, adding the number 7 can only play as well as his forwards allow him to.
But Joey Johns, anyone don't like it, they keep getting beaten up like they did against Queensland in the yardage department, and they go forward and all that type of stuff. Halfbacks can't, no halfback in the game can play behind that.
Origin selectors did consider Andrew Johns but believe he needs more match fitness. Joey applauding the decision to move Barrett to halfback.
Sensational. His performance as a halfback in the past at this level has been great, and sometimes I think maybe he's better halfback than he's 5'8", but gives us a strong look in the halves with him and Anasta, so I think they'll go well.
Johns.
Intercept Carlo, they won't catch him.
Okay, now moving on, and Andrew Johns was back for the Knights yesterday, returning from a broken jaw. And had the Knights been playing a team other than the Broncos, a fairy tale just might have been on the cards.
Yeah, it could have been. And look, they started very, very well, the Newcastle Knights, but in the end it was just the experience of the Brisbane Broncos players getting them through to 34 points, the 16 win over the Newcastle Knights. I must say that's their 8th win in a row, but they went about their business like it was just another game of footy, and that's the way they approached it. Andrew Johns, his kicking game, they started strongly, putting the ball down into the corners, putting plenty of pressure on the Brisbane side, but they just kept coming back. Siva, he was outstanding. Like the score of the first try, Danny Buderus was great once again, and I think he just found a little bit more freedom. George Carmont scores his try here for Newcastle, and when I saw this, I thought, well, they've really turned up with their game day heads on, and they're going to really give the Broncos a big shake. But there were 3 tries scored by the Brisbane side off scrum plays, so that was disappointing because defensively they really did struggle out wide, the Newcastle side.
2 things for Newcastle. I thought execution let them down when they were starting to build pressure, and I also thought fatigue was a factor in this game. They come up with some poor options at wrong times.
Is that perhaps a byproduct of the whole discussion that's now taking place about the medical staff and the physiotherapy availability, and perhaps it just comes down to the pure dollars the Knights have available to them to spend on, off the field stuff?
Well, I'll give you an example after talking to Ben Kennedy in the New South Wales Origin camp. We're talking about the Manly rehabilitation system and talking about how he's never felt fresher. He feels that keen because they've got people to work with him, the physios, the rehab trainers and all this. They didn't have that medical support staff up there with Newcastle. And Ben Kennedy, when he played for Newcastle, used to run out on the field week in, week out with injuries. He's not doing that at the moment with Manly, and you can see the benefits that they're getting out of it.
You can. Now, everybody knows how much speed and skill the Broncos have, and it was on display yesterday. They can score a slashing try, can't they?
They can. This is what I'm talking about. From the base of the scrum, you don't see many tries being scored or 2 passes wide. It was Darren Lockyer once again going very, very wide. This is the last try that was scored in the game.
This grilled them, didn't it? 10 minutes before half-time.
It did, mate.
They were travelling good, Newcastle, up until then. I thought Johns was taking some good options.
He was, mate.
Denny Buderus, I thought, was having an outstanding game early. The difference in Buderus' game yesterday, he got out and beat the markers a lot of the time and attacked the A and B defender. Leon Bott got plenty of pace. They play with a lot of width too, the Brisbane Broncos. I've always said it, they're the most adaptable team in the competition. Their body language is so good when something goes against them, and they've got that hit-back mentality. No matter what happens to them, we're going to strike.
And they've had some slow starts in games in 2005, but have had that ability, as you say, to just weather the storm. They did it against the Dragons some time ago now. And, of course, there you see Sean Berrigan extending his lead at the top of the try scorers list, 15 now in the season, and what a season he's having. Reece West is still there with 11, and Billy Slater, off the back of a double yesterday against the Tigers, also has 11 now. If this next tackle by Clint Newton had happened in a grand final, then people would be talking about it for decades to come, because this was a great chase.
It was, and there was no real need from the chase. They were down on the scoreboard. You can see him just coming to the screen now. There he is on that right-hand flank. Gave a tremendous chase on Berrigan. Milton Thaiday, he had to have the second go there, because when this tackle was made, he was actually pulling up and slowing up. Then he saw that Berrigan was going down. Tremendous chase by Newton. Look, he was one of the best forwards out there, along with Sever and Webke for the Brisbane side, but Newton put his hand up, he did a heap of work down the middle of the ruck, and defensively he was very, very strong.
That tackle or that effort sums Clint Newton up. He's not the most naturally gifted footballer, but he's a committed footballer, and he gives himself the best opportunity to play well with his preparation, and he goes out there week in, week out and gives it his best.
OK, now despite being out for 7 weeks, the fitness that Andrew Johns showed yesterday was very impressive. He's been doing, of course, so much training up in Queensland, working on flexibility in his knee strength and everything else that was to go with it, and it certainly has showed.
It did, but it was his vision also that he was setting the tries up or throwing the pass or putting the little kick in. You know, that's what I liked about his game in yesterday, and that's why I probably felt so strongly about him making the Blues side, because if it wasn't for his vision out there, they wouldn't have got those points, and it's something that Newcastle has been missing for a long time because of his injuries to his knee and to his jaw.
The thing that I liked about Andrew Johns, he was playing like an 8-year-old yesterday. He wanted to be involved. At the start of the year, he wanted to play like that, but he couldn't, and he was getting frustrated. But yesterday he was coming back and probably expanded a lot of energy in that first 30 minutes. He had nothing at the back end of the game, but the more game time that he plays in the coming weeks, he will get better. And I think the Newcastle Knights can win a few games between now and the end of the year.
Now, the last thing to come out of this game, Knights winger Anthony Quinn has been charged with a Grade 1 strike for this next incident. If he takes the plea, he won't miss this week's game against the Eels, and I think he'll be taking the plea.
Well, it was silly, wasn't it? He didn't need to come down with the point of the elbow.
Just lazy. Just very, very lazy.
Ooh, I don't know about lazy.
No,
I think there might be another word there for lazy.
Silly?
Silly. OK, silly.
Just didn't need to do it.
No, he didn't need to do it. That's what I mean. He came over the top, and it's something he shouldn't have done.
No, you're right.
There was also a visit to the Children's Hospital at Westmead. It's a lift for the little ones that seems to work just as well for the bigger ones. And how Danny Buderus would love to see some healing in his troubled Newcastle club. Football manager Mark Sargent, the latest to quit today.
We're looking at a long-term plan. It's obviously very tough at the moment, but we'll get it all sorted out.
Clinton Fletcher, National 9 News.
And Queensland coach Michael Hagan has been reprimanded by his club for speaking out about the Knights' financial woes, though he denies planning to quit if they don't get more resources.
I know we're operating in a difficult situation, but I don't think it would hopefully come to that.
Patrick Mollahan, 7 News.
The dramas continue at Newcastle. Football manager Mark Sargent's the latest casualty of infighting over where the Knights are headed. The players, though, are trying not to worry about the problems off the field.
Obviously, the people in the right positions in the club will sort that out for us. We're there to play football. We try to do that to the best of our ability and trust that everyone else looks after their job as well.
And sport is next for Tim Webster, and the night season is an unfolding nightmare.
Some trouble in the Hunter, Jess, I'll tell you. Ahead, the off-field dramas are matching the on-field problems. A visit by the NRL's Director of Finance to Newcastle for this weekend's game is taking on even more significance tonight. The Knights are in turmoil in the wake of the in-house bickering becoming public over the club's tight budget and its impact on Michael Hagan's team.
Today's Maroon medicals and training session with full support staff is a luxury for Michael Hagan. He can only dream of this level of backup at club level. The Knights football manager Mark Sargent has now quit after both he and Hagan were carpeted for bagging Newcastle's trying to get by on the cheap.
Yeah, no, it was an opportunity to, I guess, set the record straight on a few things, but, you know, we need to just work through the process a little bit and try and get our football club back on its feet.
The Knights' penny pinching is also affecting their players.
It'd be nice to have like full-time physios and different bits and pieces there, but I don't know. Personally, I just try and get on with the job.
Injury concerns for Queensland ahead of State of Origin 2 with both Carl Webb and Brad Thorne in doubt. It's the kind of news coach Michael Hagan doesn't need, especially with the dramas he's already facing at Newcastle.
Not even Queensland's medicals could provide an escape from the crisis at his club for coach Michael Hagan. His understaffed Knights are now without a football manager after Mark Sargent quit.
It's not an ideal situation at our club at the moment, but you know, there's some issues that we need to work through.
Question to New South Wales captain Danny Buderus. This one from AJ Hawkins.
Does it worry you that you don't spend the whole 80 minutes on the footy field?
Yeah, Lazo, I guess every player wants to play for 80 minutes, but the speed and the intensity of Origin, especially in the forwards, I don't think you could probably play 80 minutes and be all quality. But as a skipper, you know, you'd like to be out there for 80 minutes, but like I said, it's not possible. There's a lot of good players that can call the shots out there.
Danny Buderus there. Now, I was distracted while you were talking money a moment ago. There was all sorts of drama with Tony the moustache twirler, our floor manager over here.
This show's going so good.
You're talking Origin dollars.
Yeah.
It's no secret what the players earn. They get $6,000 for a game and $2,500 for a winning bonus.
Yeah, it's not enough.
No, it probably is.
It's not enough.
It probably isn't. I
It
agree.
isn't. I'm telling you, it's not enough for the players that put their bodies through, the speed of the game, the amount of people that go to the game, the sponsors. Not enough, boys.
OK, I'm back with the program now.
I wonder where you went to.
I was off with the Pixies for a moment there. It was all happening in my ear and over there, and all sorts of things happening. You wouldn't believe how this sort of stuff works sometimes.
Let's go, move on.
Now, a question to Queensland coach Michael Hagan from Tyson Neeshaw.
Well, Michael, are you glad New South Wales didn't pick Andrew Johns for Origin 2?
Yeah, I'm not disappointed that he's not there, and I guess you know, he's not far away from getting back to his best form, and I guess that also helps Newcastle because he'll be playing for Newcastle against Parramatta Saturday night, so I'm not disappointed on both counts.
It must be pleasing for you to see guys like that starting to hit some form, as you said.
Oh, I think it's been pretty frustrating for Andrew and for a few other guys in the team that haven't played a whole lot of football at the moment, but I'm sure if we can keep him on the field and a few other guys that you know, we can still look forward to the next few weeks and finish the year off pretty well.
And of course, the latest from the Knights camp is that Mark Sargent has been, well, pushed, jumped, whatever you want to call it. The football manager, he's out of the equation for the moment, and Steve Crowe and Paul Harrigan will assume those duties. It isn't good up there at Newcastle at the moment.
No, it's not, and we touched it on Monday night. Then they said they didn't have a physio, full-time physio. I can't believe that in today's modern game. They don't have a full-time person there looking after the players, or massage therapist, or whatever the case may be. But that's just part of the game. You've got to have them. And I think Mark Sargent, in the end, said his piece. They didn't like what he said, and he's had to move on. Disappointing. Great club man for Newcastle.
OK, now we'll take a break and come back with more on our State of Origin feedback frenzy.
Hodgson around to Carey. Hodgson lassoed by Talent. Look at Talent. He drags him over and out of the rectangular ring.
Well, you will not see a better tackle on that from Gordon Tallis.
This weekend, the Eels make the trip to Energy Australia Stadium. Let's show them how our town supports our team.
Be at the game this weekend.
That's my team.
More on those dramatic developments with the New South Wales Origin team we brought you earlier in our news. Andrew Johns has been rushed back for Game 2 after Trent Barrett broke down at training.
The thigh bone's connected to Origin disappointment, an old thigh muscle injury flaring and causing mayhem in the Blues squad.
Probably a little unexpected, but I've just got to get on with things now and make sure the leg's right. And it's only a small thing, so hopefully I'll only miss a week or two.
But Barrett's problem has allowed for the return of Andrew Johns, and he has Barrett's full backing.
Any doubts anyone has on Andrew Johns, I think he'll answer next Wednesday.
As the NRL prepares to rescue financially crippled Newcastle, club great Paul Hagan, called up to the Knights' beleaguered management, is coming to terms with the club's woes.
There's got to be some form of change in the structure that's there currently at the moment. It's just really tough to work with. But again, that's a board level decision, and that's something that we can't talk about as of yet.
Ken, with sport next and the dramatic recall of Andrew Johns to State of Origin duties.
Yes, Mark, he's in with Trent Barrett out injured. Andrew Johns is back, and how? Joey has been recalled to play in State of Origin 2 after Trent Barrett injured his thigh during training in Dubbo today. Brett Kamali and Matt Orford were overlooked, despite Johns having played just one game since suffering a broken jaw 7 weeks ago.
In dry, dusty Dubbo, the news came like a drought-breaking thunderstorm.
Trent Barrett has been ruled out of Wednesday night's game. The replacement is Andrew Johns.
And the man at the heart of the drama, Trent Barrett, just couldn't believe his bad luck.
If I didn't have to run until Wednesday morning, I probably would be a chance, but obviously you can't do that in these teams, and it's just disappointing.
The decision was made after a rowdy, jam-packed training session in Dubbo. Neither Barrett or his coach willing to risk taking an injured player into Origin 2.
Our medical staff have actually given us the opinion that they wouldn't think he's right for the game, so we had to make a decision in which is why we're bringing in Joey to the squad.
But while the news has devastated Trent Barrett, he has no doubt Andrew Johns, just one game back from injury, is now ready for State of Origin. Johns played his first game back last weekend against the Broncos after suffering a broken jaw 7 weeks earlier. Matthew Johns in no doubt his brother can rise to the occasion.
Look, there's one thing about Andrew, he can lift himself to the occasion, like the Langers and the Lewises. I can tell you when he arrives in that camp tomorrow with the New South Wales side, he'll lift him.
Done it before, great player, and it's sort of the scene set for him now to come and save us.
In Dubbo, Paul Crawley, National 9 News.
Mark, live and exclusive tonight on The Footy Show, Andrew Johns.
Well worth watching. Thanks, Ken.
Time for sport now with Matthew White and a day of high drama for New South Wales.
Well, just one change, Roscoe, but it was a big one, and it's Joey to the rescue. Andrew Johns is back for the Blues as the injury curse hits Trent Barrett once again. More on that shortly. Newcastle halfback Andrew Johns is back in blue after getting a surprise call-up to the New South Wales team for the second Origin game. Johns returns after Trent Barrett was forced out with an injured thigh.
Having got the call-up, Andrew Johns snuck in a secret training session with son Samuel this afternoon, and he'll join the Blues tomorrow.
And he was a logical choice, I thought. Done it before, great player, and it's sort of the scene set for him now to come and save us.
The crowd that greeted the Blues in Dubbo didn't know just how crucial this session would prove to be for State of Origin. Trent Barrett had pulled up sore late yesterday with a thigh muscle strain and had one shot to prove his fitness, but just minutes in was forced to admit defeat.
We give him treatment last night and give him until today to try and prove his fitness, but he unfortunately isn't right.
Barrett had to be helped to the team bus with a recurrence of an old injury.
I can't go out and carry a small tear into an Origin game and then tear it properly and miss 2 months, and that's not fair on the club or myself.
Sharks skipper Brett Kamali was mentioned, but Stuart wanted Johns.
One of the reasons we were keen to go that way is that he's played with a lot of these players before. He's a big match player and he's got a lot of experience at this level, so he will give us some added bonuses.
With 20 seconds on the clock, let's get some fast opinion now, starting with the Newcastle Knights, who will part company with coach Michael Hagan at the end of the year. True or false, Dean Ritchie?
I'll give that a false case. I think Michael Hagan is a fighter. I don't think he'll walk away from a sinking ship. Look, they're in disarray at the moment, the Knights. There's no doubting that, but I think you'll find he will see his current contract through, but I don't think he'll coach Queensland next year. I think he'll resign.
On the Footy Show, Andrew Johns exclusively live on his shock return to Origin. Plus a tribute to the all-time greats and Origin legends Alfie and Big Mal Meninga. The all-new Footy Show tonight on 9.
It's just the best time of year, of course. The Footy Show coming to you live from our Sydney studios all around the world tonight. And Matty Johns and Peter Sterlo, New South Wales greats, boys. It's exciting times. How good is it?
Oh, it's going to be great. We've got a decider coming up Game 3 after the Blues win next Wednesday night. And Andrew Johns called up Trent Barrett. You've got to feel sorry for him. He's pulled out 5 or 6 times from Origin through injury. Andrew Johns has got the call up and he played well on Sunday. Played very well against the Broncos.
Matty, you watched him closely?
Yeah, I did. I watched him. I thought he was absolutely outstanding. You know, his first half in particular, his defence was... Look, people. I feel sorry for Trent Barrett as well. You know, and he's a super bloke, an even better footballer. But the difference Andrew will make in that camp, he'll walk in there, I tell you, the atmosphere will just pick up because he's a winner.
Andrew Johns, 21 games of Origin, 11 wins, 8 losses, 2 draws. He'll try and make it 12 wins, of course, next week. I've done all my research, all the stats. I've got them just like that. Ask me a question, anything at all. Nothing?
No, I've got nothing.
All right, sweet. Now, after the break, Joey Johns joins us live from Newcastle. There he is, getting warmed up. And the great Alan Langer. That's after the break here on the Footy Show.
Overall, I think, just with his passing game, he's got his kicking game, but, his defence is probably the best defensive halfback I've played against also. So, overall, I think he's just head and shoulders above the rest of them.
Buderus to Johns, he'll score. The captain is in. Well, Andrew Johns, there's nothing left to be said.
Of course, we want to thank our sponsors again, because these shows can't exist without sponsors. That's Jim Beam, of course, and Crazy Johns, both great sponsors. Thanks. Now, big shock today. Trent Barrett has been carrying a little injury. He pulled out this afternoon, and Andrew Johns was named as his replacement. He's been there plenty of times before, and he joins us now live from NBN in Newcastle. G'day, Joey.
Hey,
Welcome, champ. Well, surprise phone call, but you look pretty happy about it.
Oh, mate, I was over the moon when I got the call. It was a private number on my mobile, so I don't normally answer them. So lucky I picked it up. It was Ricky at the end of the. It was Ricky on the other end, and just said how to pull up after the Broncos, and then just said Trent's been injured. So yeah, it's over the moon, mate.
Can I ask you where you were when you got the call?
I was getting a massage at the time, a legit one.
Oh, happy finish, eh? Mate, now listen, mate, I watched you play against the Broncos, and I know when you're on your game, when you play with a lot of purpose, you're ripping in defence. You were out there to make a statement. Given that, and that you weren't named, how disappointed were you on Monday?
Mate, I wasn't disappointed at all. I was just happy to get through the game, and I thought I made a bit of an impact. I thought I played pretty solid. Probably disappointed with the result, but the pleasing aspect was for me was my timing in defence was there. I thought it might have been a bit off coming back from the jaw injury, but really found defence that my timing was there, and hopefully it'll put me in good stead for Wednesday night.
Hey Joey, us Queenslanders obviously prefer you not be in the side, but how are you going to go with Budsy being the captain? You're sort of playing second fiddle in the New South Wales, so hopefully it might interrupt your play a little bit.
No, not at all. I thought I was going to be captain. I'm only kidding. No, it'll be great to partner Bedsy, and it'll be a good change for me going in with Brad Fittler done it last year, and you come in a little bit under the radar, I suppose. And I look forward to it. Bedsy's a great player and a great leader, and look forward to playing under him.
Well, the Queensland coach, Michael Hagan, of course, is your Newcastle coach. What do you expect from Mick? Is he going to target you? Will he run players at you? What will he try and do to nullify your skills in the game?
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll send some big boys at me, on my side of the ruck. But I'm used to that these days. I think all the halves are used to a lot of extra tackling. We try to do it with Darren Lockyer on the weekend. But I think these days you're expected so much, and it's a part of my game that I pride myself on, so I don't really mind if the big fellas run at me.
Joey, over the last 2 weeks, you've exuded confidence. I haven't seen you so up like this for a long time. Do you have any concerns after just 9 games in a year and a half going into Origin next week?
No, not really, because I know the last 2 months since I broke my jaw, I've trained really hard and I've done the work, so... You know, when yourself being a player, when you come to the big hurdle or the big challenge, if you know you've done the work, then you are confident.
Joey, Braith and Astor, your partner him, well, probably the first time under this sort of pressure. What are you going to say to him? Are you just after him to be a runner for you?
I'm just probably looking to get a combination to start with, and I haven't really talked to Ricky about how we're going to play or who we're trying to exploit and that sort of thing, but... I toured with Braith in 2000 or 2001, I think it was, and out in the park at training, we've done a lot of work together, a lot of training. So, I love watching footy, so I watch that many games that I pretty much know how the way Braith plays, so I think we're going to be fine playing together.
Mel, it's been a tough year for Michael Hagan, just the one win, and that's not at club level. Is it something, Origin coaching, that you have aspirations to do or would like to do?
Maybe on the track still. I'm not quite sure what Hags is... where his future lies. We're not quite sure. It's sort of up in there with the Newcastle club at the moment as well, so he mightn't be around next year. I'm not quite sure. So if he's not coaching Newcastle, I would expect him to continue with the Queensland job. But from my point of view, I enjoy being involved with rugby league, a bit like Joey, and watch it all the time, and can't wait to sort of be involved maybe on a hands-on situation down the track.
Yeah. Sounds like a yes to me. Yeah. All right, of course, they've got plenty of people they can choose from. The great Mal Meninga, Alan Langer, Trevor Gilmester, players like that, ex-players who are now, doing great things in Queensland Rugby League. Of course, we caught up with some of the boys from New South Wales to get their reaction to Andrew Johns' inclusion into this Blues team.
Yeah. Trent's gone. How are you taking it? How's the team taking it?
Yeah, very unfortunate for Baz. Poor fella, got a feel for him, but it's a big decision. It's a team thing that he's done. He's put the team first, so we're going to be very appreciative of that.
Brave call by him doing it a little bit early. Could have waited a bit longer.
He could have, but that sums Trent up. He's an honest person and he'll always put the team first, and that's what makes him such a great club man and a good person.
Is that going to rock the team at all? Is that going to affect any preparations or just on?
We bring Andrew Johns in, so he's done it all before. A lot of the plays that we've got are still from what Joey put in.
Yep, all good stuff there from the Blues. Very happy to have Joey back on the side. Joey, from all of us, from all your fans in New South Wales, play well next week and have a great game.
Good luck, mate.
Well done. Thanks for your time tonight. Good man to go in there to NBN.
Hi guys, Amanda here, doing Lady Luck for round 15. Now I'm here at the exclusive Oaks Goldsborough in Sydney, where we're hoping to catch up with one of South Sydney's most famous fans. But firstly though, we must thank the good people at 4 and 20 for generously donating $1,000. You've got to love those 4 and 20 pies, they're the footy show's favourite pie. Well, I'm here today because I have it on good authority that one of the most recognised...
People, can I get some love here by the test? He's not been up in my suite for something like 3/4 of an hour, trying to make a reverse charges phone call to my missus in Australia. Now connect me, Sterlo. Why all the smarmy looks? Okay.
We might just go straight to the tips.
This is how we deal with people in Australia.
I'm going to back the Sharks another great win and put $500 on them to beat the Tigers. And I'm going to put another $500 on the Dragons to beat the Cowboys. All the money raised by Lady Luck heads straight to the kids at the Sydney Children's Hospital in Randwick and the Mater Hospital in Brisbane. We'll have a fabulous week.
Okay now, I just have a bit of an anger problem.
Remember? Go Reg, go!
Those big celebrities, they can get into some trouble. We'll keep an eye out for Reg. I think that he'll be back. Okay, anything else to finish up?
Look, there's a lot of other news going on at the moment. The Knights obviously have had a terrible week. West Leagues, they're getting very close to becoming involved with the Newcastle Knights and they desperately need them.
I still like rooming by myself. It's good, but you miss a buddy every now and then, like it, you know, like a off or something.
I go in and out of rooms. I stalk the rooms.
Yeah, stalker.
Yeah, so I only sleep there, mate. But always look for company.
It's good when you're watching TV. You watch whatever you want, but it's good to hang out.
Yeah, no, I'm a bit over it. I'm keen to just have a roommate now. I think.
Well, mate, I'm staying the same. Hey, till maybe I could just pop over and get a wheel up bed in there.
Mate,
is that good?
Honeymoon suite.
We can hang out?
Yeah, we can hang out.
Oh, how good is that? Thanks, Betsy. Hang out captain's room tonight. Big fella.
But Andrew Johns has stepped into camp, ready to prove all the doubters wrong. Well, just when the Blues thought their Origin campaign was back on track with Andrew Johns' arrival, there's another major injury concern. Centre Mark Gasnier now in doubt for Game 2.
Mark Gasnier's groin problem has been kept a top secret. But with Penrith's Luke Lewis training in his place today, it's clear the Blues are braced for yet another withdrawal.
I think Gaz will be okay. We're going to give him every opportunity and we'll give him right up to Wednesday.
But no such drama with Andrew Johns, recalled to the Origin arena after just one game back from his broken jaw.
When you watch it, you're always envious. You talk to past players and they always spark up this time of year, so to give him another chance, it really feels like, I suppose I'm starting over again. That's the feeling in my stomach.
There are questions about the injury-plagued John's ability to play in league's fastest spectacle. A worrying statistic is he's only finishing 9 matches in 2 years.
Couldn't care less, I've only played 1. I know I'm up to the task, I know I'm ready. I've played, I don't know how many games of Origin footy I've played, but I know what the game's all about, and I know I've done the hard work the past couple of months, and I'm ready to go.
Newcastle and Queensland coach Michael Hagan was initially relieved when Johns wasn't picked for New South Wales. Now he's changing the Maroons' match plans.
I think he certainly adds a bit to their game. He's a tremendous player, and his passing, kicking game are better than anyone at this level. So that'll certainly, and he's in a pretty good football team by the same token.
Johns is embarrassed by injured teammate Trent Barrett's suggestion he's the man to save the Blues.
I feel it's not about me. I'm coming in to the side, and I just want to contribute to the side, and I don't want it to be about me and about fairy tales or anything like that. Just come here to do a job and to have a win.
Ken with Sport next, and first Trent Barrett, now another major injury concern for New South Wales.
Mark, the classy centre Mark Gasnier is in doubt. Also, Joey Johns takes up residence with the Blues. It's been another day of drama in the New South Wales Origin camp, with star centre Mark Gasnier the latest concern. Following Andrew Johns' arrival to take Trent Barrett's place, Penrith's Luke Lewis has now been rushed into the squad, while Gasnier will be given until game day to recover from a groin strain.
With the series on the line, this was another disruption the Blues just didn't need. Gasnier putting on a brave face while Lewis took his place on the training paddock.
He won't have to do too much, but he'll just certainly have to show me on Wednesday that he can run, and he's got no pain and he can't aggravate the injury. He can't be a weakness for the team if he has to take the field.
The game's informed centre, Gasnier's loss would be a huge blow.
It's difficult in regards to preparation, but it's not an excuse, and it won't be an excuse.
It all overshadowed Andrew Johns' arrival like Superman to the rescue, and feeling as though he just walked into his first Origin camp, not his 22nd.
My head was spinning a little bit yesterday, but I'm just pumped to be down here, just that excited.
And after taking control at training, already the Queenslanders are asking questions.
I'm not sure who's going to be captain, actually, whether it be Danny or Joey.
He's a Queensland coach, so I think he can look after what's going up north of the border.
But while he doesn't want to admit it, right now even the players see Johns as their saviour. 31 years old and having played just 9 first-grade games in the past 2 seasons. Already it's being compared to Alfie Langer's return in 2001, only this time the number 7 will be wearing sky blue.
I don't want it to be about me and about fairy tales or anything like that. Just come here to do a job and to have a win.
Paul Crawley, National 9 News.
Time for sport now with Matthew White and another injury concern for the Blues.
It's just a little one, Roscoe. They're hoping Mark Gasnier will be right, but they've called on Luke Lewis just in case. But Joey Johns has slotted straight back into the Blues lineup. More on that shortly. Dragon star Mark Gasnier is expected to play in Origin 2 on Wednesday, despite the Panthers' Luke Lewis filling in at training today. Gasnier has an injured groin. Just another hiccup for a Blues squad that's officially welcomed back Andrew Johns.
With the return of Andrew Johns, coach Ricky Stuart has tackled at least one of his problems. Joey joined the Blues camp this afternoon, itching at the chance to level the Origin series.
Yeah, I'm just pumped to be down here, just that excited. Can't wait. It's a good feeling.
That good feeling has rubbed off on the entire Blues squad.
I think Joey's going to run the show out there, obviously, and he's a playmaker, so he'll slip into that role very comfortably.
Stuart's ruled out any change to the captaincy.
Danny's the captain. Joey will obviously be a leader and dictator on the field.
Johns admits he doesn't have match fitness, but he's feeling sharp.
And I think in the past I've played my best football when I'm fresh, so hopefully that'll show Wednesday night.
It's back to the drawing board for Queensland. Coach Michael Hagan knows his Newcastle star is a match winner.
He's a tremendous player, and his passing kicking game are better than anyone at this level.
Parramatta over Newcastle by 50 points to 0. You can see that there. Such a sad week for the Newcastle Knights. I don't think it gets any worse than that. And the Broncos, plenty of composure there from the competition leaders. Their win over the Raiders. Let's start off with a positive. Oh, no, let's start off with a negative. Let's roast someone. Yeah. What about the fan who ran on the ground last night in the closing stages of the Parramatta-Newcastle game? Boys, have a look at this bit of vision from last night. We're going to make him the roastee of the week, the dope of the week. What do you make of this, Paul? What should happen to him?
Look, I'd like to find out who the bloke is and put his photo up every ground we play rugby league in and say this bloke doesn't come in anymore.
So this isn't drunken hijinks. This is dead set dangerous, MG.
This is stupidity. I mean, Timmy Smith was had the ball in his hand. This bloke here who is just a total goose. Okay, frustrated, yeah, but stupidity, unbelievable.
But what about
stupidity.
the trainers?
Where's the security?
The thing, look, I'm a fun-loving guy. I'm not. But I tell you what, as a Newcastle former player and a Newcastle supporter, that was just embarrassing. They shouldn't let that bloke back in the ground. Timmy Smith. Just say Tim Smith, when he went to kick the ball, the bloke was there 2 seconds early and dives, and he does his cruise shit. And it could have happened. And carrying a can on the field.
Yeah. When I first seen it, I thought it was a bloody trainer coming on with a water bottle. And then I thought, this bloke for real? Waiting for him to get his gear off. I thought he was a streaker.
At least he could have took his gear off.
Oh, it would have made good TV.
I'd like to put the clock on security and find out how long they actually took to get out there, because that was disgraceful. From security, it took that long to get out there, because this bloke... You only got to go back to Monica Seles sitting on the sideline in a tennis ball.
It is that serious. It is that serious, MG.
MG, look, before it happened to Monica Seles, you would never have guessed. You would say it would never happen. You would have said, what a load of rubbish. This guy could have done anything last night. He doesn't have to have a weapon with him, but if he goes in and crash tackles a player that's not expecting it...
Mate, any player in that game last night, if they knew he was on there, they would have given him a quick elbow to the head and said, go away, Goose. On there. Go away, Goose.
They knew he was on there.
I mean, Monica Seles, where's that come from?
Mate, I think it's a good point, MG. Look, I can settle this. Here's the punishment for this dope. I think Newcastle have obviously got problems with their defence. In fact, he's going to be a tackling bag at the Knights training for the next 2 weeks. And if there is a positive to come out of it, if they fine blokes for coming on the field like they do at Aussie Stadium, you get $5,000. That $5,000 is going to come in handy at the Knights. Given the problems they've had. On to State of Origin, the Wednesday night. Queensland with the opportunity to wrap up the series, but all the press in the build-up to the game this week has been about Andrew Johns, or certainly since Thursday afternoon where he's called into the side. Boys, I've got to throw at you. If Andrew Johns was good enough to be your plan B, why wasn't he your plan A? Who's the better halfback, Andrew Johns or Trent Barrett?
Andrew Johns.
Who's the better 5'8", Trent Barrett or Braith and Astor outside of Andrew Johns?
Trent Barrett.
So try and understand selectors' logic. Selectors are like women. I don't understand them.
I've always been pretty lackadaisy about this number. Not like lackadaisy, but
I'm walking back to that. I'm tired of trying to understand. Explain to my son what some of the words you use mean.
Is this live TV? Anyway, 30-man squad. I can't get my head around why they pick a 30-man squad still when we see players of the calibre of, I think Ryan Cross, I said it last week on the show, I think he should be disappointed to not make the side. I think Eric Grothe Jr. is the same. I think they should be both very disappointed. But saying that, I'm glad Andrew Johns is in the side.
What's important is they've got it right. Andrew Johns is in the side. It's terrific. We spoke about this last week when we were speculating who's going to get... This is terrific theatre. This game has now got to build up. We haven't seen... Origin, look, you never want to say it was lacking something, but certainly this is taking it to another level.
From a Blues as a Blues supporter, the thing with Andrew he'll give Ricky a lot of flexibility. Like if it's a dry game and a lot of ball movements required, there's no one better than Andrew. But
What's more likely? It's going to be dewy, it's going to be slippery, it's going to be wet weather type of game. Joey can beat him with his kicking game, just like Ricky used to do during the 90s.
Just him being there is enough. Just him being there in the 17 is enough.
Now, they're talking about Andrew Johns, people concerned that he hasn't played a lot of football. Here's an email from one of our viewers. He's an Irishman by the name of Paul Convey. He says, I think that some men have what it takes for State of Origin and some don't. Take Ben Kennedy. He spends most of the season on a physio's table. However, with little match practice, he always gets his place in Origin and always performs. I think Andrew Johns are the same ingredients and Brett Camorley just doesn't have it.
Terry Lamb.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, very good point. I think Terry Lamb was similar. He in the last stages of his career, I think he trained 1 day a week, and some players have got it. Andrew Johns is just his presence on Wednesday night in the warm-up, in the camp, is enough.
So you have no doubts about it, that the lack of top-grade football is not going to affect Andrew Johns. 3 games last year, just a handful this year.
Not one doubt.
And it's, you know what Joey's like? His personality, he just expects to play well. That's the thing. Like a lot of players, if they haven't had a great preparation, you know, they're walking on the edge. Joey just expects. He'll expect to go out there and be man of the match.
You got to feel about PK for Gowers, the Orfords of the world, the other halfbacks who have been thereabouts. I mean, not actually in the.
Yeah, have their papers been stamped? Paul, like Brett Camorley, his papers been stamped not to play rep footy again?
No, they won't. They haven't been stamped. But for Brett Camorley to play football, rep football, New South Wales again, Andrew Johns has got to be injured. Craig Gower's got to be injured. And perhaps another player, you know, Trent Barrett's got to be injured, because what they've done with Brett Camorley is that they've gone through the game one and they've thought this guy just didn't quite... he didn't quite make it. You know, there were times when they thought he could have got them over the line and they don't believe he did. Now, whether that's right or... It's a tough call, but it's a tough...
What if the pass wasn't intercepted by Matt Bowen?
Exactly.
That's
is it just the classic sliding doors? Would he still be an Origin player?
You know what? That's why halfbacks... I'll tell you something. You know why halfbacks get big money? Is because when you win, they're the reason, but when you lose, they take the blame. That's just the life of a halfback.
But it's not just the pass either. It was more the kicking game in the first half where Queen... See, on Wednesday night, if Queensland are dominating early in the forwards, as many people expect because they'll be big and they'll be fresh, Andrew Johns' kicking game will keep New South Wales in. He'll get the ball and he'll kick it right down there. He'll put it deep in the corner, and then Queensland will have to work out. On the previous game, New South Wales were unable to do that.
OK, let's pin you down to a tip. MG, who's going to win and by how many?
Just on that, Brett Camorley, he had ample opportunity to impress again last Friday night against the Tigers. Capitulated, had a shocker. I think he has been stamped. He won't play for Origin again, no matter how good he plays. New South Wales will win. I think they'll win by at least 2 tries.
2 tries. Paul?
New South Wales, 8 points.
And you went for Queensland game 1?
I went Queensland by 4 in game 1, Andrew.
Matty?
New South Wales by 2 points.
OK, well, I'm going to go New South Wales by 6. So it's an all-blue panel where we were split down the middle before game 1.
And it's do or die.
It is do or die.
This one is do or die.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's just amazing to the stature of Joey Johns that in a do or die game with virtually no lead-in or no form that they pick him, and it's a big one.
See, the thing too, you're talking about, we're talking about how excited we are at the moment. You know, wish the game was on Monday night. If any of the players are thinking that way, that's the first step to getting beaten. They've got to make sure they're right at the time. You know, 8 o'clock kickoff on Wednesday night, that's when you've got to be ready. If you're ready Monday night, you know,
you've played the game too early.
You've played the game too early.
What do you think of this performance, Pete?
Wonderful.
He's been out with a broken jaw. His first 20 minutes against the competition leaders, that was first versus last position. That was impressive.
I think it's as good a comeback as you could expect after the small amount of football that he's had. I'm just wondering how Queensland... Look, I know that they don't worry too much about the opposition, but with Johns there, we've got to have some sort of plan to... Are they going to send big blokes at him as much as possible and wear him out?
Well, they probably will. They'll probably send the likes of Carlaw and the rest of Sivana at him to try and tire him out, but because his fitness would not be at 100% as far as his physical fitness is.
Yeah.
But he'll handle him. Yeah. Well, he'll pick up Sivana and put him on his back.
It's just into the game fitness-wise.
I'll be surprised if he doesn't play in the second line of defence. We used him that way a couple of years ago. We actually kept him behind the line in an old-fashioned halfback role.
Well, that'd be the way to go.
He would stay there.
Can he do that? Does he want
but what happened?
Not his nature.
What happened was you'd say, now Joey, stay back there. Tell us where they're going, which he was terrific. He'd say they're going this way, they're going that way. Here comes Lockyer, here comes this fella, and he could tell everyone where to move. If we were short, he would move up into the line and plug the hole. He would follow Lockyer across the field. It was perfect. If they grab a kick behind the line, he was there. The problem was every time a big bloke went to rip the ball up, he wanted to race out of the line and race up and smash it.
In that first 20 minutes against the Broncos, he done the same thing. He tackled everything that moved. He was involved with everything. And I just don't think he can do that in Origin for 80 minutes.
Well, we caught up with Andrew on Friday and asked him if he felt as though he could lift this New South Wales side.
I think so. I'm going to try to anyway. Every time we're talking football, I'm going to make sure I'm really confident what I'm saying. when I'm calling plays at training, and I make sure that I use confidence, and hopefully it rubs off on the other players.
You come in as a leader, don't you, Joe? I mean, Danny's you're his captain in Newcastle. How does that work?
Oh, it's no problem at all. I respect Bedsy as a player and as a leader. He's one of my best mates off the field, so I'm looking forward to playing under him. Most halfbacks, or all halfbacks in their teams, are leaders, so it's just the natural progression of what a halfback does. But Bedsy's going to lead us on the field, and he's our captain.
Yeah, no more excited man running out on Wednesday night than Andrew Johns.
I'll tell you what, too. He will find it a hell of a lot easier playing for New South Wales than he is at the moment playing for Newcastle. I mean, he's trying to do everything for them up there at the moment, and he hasn't got the cattle around him. He's going to be playing in a side with great players. I mean, he's only got to look after his job and make sure they get the ball to do their job. It's going to be a lot easier for him.
But it's going to be a lot harder and faster, too. It's Origin and it's do or die.
But he's not going to be captain. I think he'll handle it comfortably, and I think whatever he does in this game will improve on for Game 3. If the Blues can win Game 2, he'll be at his peak.
Do you blokes really think that New South Wales are going to win this, or?
I do.
Well, the fact they do or die, and they will. Well, let's have a look at the Knights and Eels match. Unfortunately for Newcastle, it was a 50-0 thrashing at the end. It was 20-0 at half-time, but look, Newcastle had, this year have used 33 players, 9 of those being debutants, and you could tell there last night that their understanding of what they were supposed to do in defence and a few other areas was lacking. Hagan's had to deal with a large number of players not being fit, and it really showed.
What about the team who won?
I'm going to get round to that one. Parramatta they've won 5 in a row. Mark Riddell and PJ Marsh were outstanding around the rucks, and that's what caused Newcastle a lot of problems. Defensively, they just couldn't keep up with them around the rucks. The darts from dummy half. Now, if that's not forward, I'm not here. Now, I know it didn't make any difference to the game, but that was straight after half-time, and that was 2 metres forward. But the play on, Parramatta really are in tremendous form. You can tell they're a team that's oozing confidence because, like Newcastle, even though they're all over the place and it was demoralising, you can at least score a try. And these guys didn't look like letting their defence line through.
The hardest games to win are the ones you're expected to. And I would have think Brian Smith went there last night, a little bit concerned. And we haven't been favourites for a long, long time. But they went up there and they were very professional the way they did it. They ran from dummy half early. They established their game. I agree with you. They're wonderful, the Riddell-PJ Marsh combination. But they just know what they're doing. It's a very confident football team at the moment. Everybody knows their job. And to win by that magnitude last night...
Sorry, Pete. This guy's come on. Unfortunately, the Knights' woes are well documented in any medium that you want to look at, but having someone run on the field like that again is a little bit embarrassing for us. Can I just say quickly for the Newcastle Knights, I thought Reagan Tanner was outstanding and stands for everything that we're about. He just tackled his backside out there and tried as hard as he could. And also, good news, Clint Newton is improving every week. He's going to be a real class player.
All right, and one of the players I thought played excellent was John Morris. He just keeps doing it at 5'8".
Yeah,
he's having a great season.
He overshadowed the number 7 last night, whereas Tim Smith's been getting all the raps. But as I've said before in the last few weeks, I think Tim Smith's played great football because the number 6 has been so good outside.
Yeah. Newcastle fell to their 12th consecutive loss against Parramatta, losing 50 points to 0. The 8th and final try coming in obscure circumstances.
There's an idiot on the field. Some idiot's come on the field and is involved in the play. He's got a can of drink, he's slipped over. Wagon will score the try. Where's the security?